he and Luke, for a couple of years, had been looking for a play about addiction and recovery in sort of a small American town. And they looked for a couple of years and they couldn't find a play that really told that story. So Stephen discovered that I'd been writing plays back when I was in the UK and since I've been over here. And he asked if I'd be interested in looking at writing something, and foolishly I said, oh yeah, sure, I'll give that a go. And 9 months later, it was a much bigger challenge than I was expecting. I spent most of that 9 months interviewing people who are going through recovery, who had relapsed and were back on addiction, who'd been in and out of jail, in hospitals. I've spoken to parents who'd lost their kid, or grandparents who were raising their grandkids because their child had lost custody or were in jail themselves. And the result of what we've put together is a selection of stories which are all either based upon conversations that I've had with people, and some of them are actually testimonials that were written by people who have a perspective. And when they were sent in to me, they were so powerful on their own, other than some slight editing, they are pretty much word for word those people's stories, and we just dramatised them basically. We also do look at things like the medical perspective areas where we can look at doing things differently. As was mentioned by Greg, the event is free. We're not charging anything. It's at the Willow Bay Theater on the 28th and 29th of April and the 5th and 6th of May. And we're just going to pass around some leaflets. You may already have them. You can register for tickets on the website. That's optional. It just means that you've got a confirmed seat, basically. But for tonight, just to give you a flavour of what we have, we've brought 2 extracts of 2 of the scenes, which I'd like to introduce to you. We've got 3 fantastic actors with us tonight. The first scene we're doing is with, I meant you. Yeah. We've got Sean Jones and Willow Foda. And the scene, or the part of the scene they're going to share with you this evening, the story that they're sharing is about, as I mentioned earlier, grandparents who they've just taken custody of their granddaughter as a consequence of their daughter being incarcerated. And it's we're just going to see a conversation that they're having, and it shows that it's a very difficult decision that they've had to come to try and decide to take on this child at their time of life, I suppose. So if I'd like to introduce Sean and Willow. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's not, but I'm sorry all the same.
Did you mean what you said about Rachel not being your daughter?
Perhaps. What if I did?
We need to talk about it.
Then what if I didn't?
We still need to talk about it.
What is there to say that we haven't already said?
She's still your daughter.
She stopped being my daughter a long time ago, Sarah.
That doesn't mean that you can stop being her father.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
I know that she did a lot of really, really bad things. But that's no reason.
But she stole from us. She stole from us, Sarah. She's done a lot of bad things.
I know, but you...
She's all but destroyed our family. I'm not just going to let her waltz in here and just take over our lives like this. I'm not.
You were always too hard on her. Tough love. That's what you thought she needed. Tough love.
What, and you'd rather I just bend to her will and just do whatever she wants?
But you shut her out. You pushed her away. I know you were trying to play it tough, make her work it out for herself. But you pushed and you never stopped.
But she needed to learn. She needed to figure things out for herself.
But we failed her.
And how do you figure that?
I know, it made sense at the time. We said, get clean or get out. But she couldn't do it.
Sarah, it's my house. And she knows the deal.
And what did that accomplish? We just sat and watched, as if magically thinking she could just work it out for herself. She didn't have any support. We let her down.
Where is all this coming from?
I am so tired. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of all of this. We stuck to that hard line, and now we've missed years of Rachel's life.
She stopped being our Rachel a long time ago, Sarah.
No, she didn't.
She tore us apart. No matter what you say, I can't forgive her for that. I can't.
I know.
We can't have her coming back in here and messing everything up again. We can't. We just can't allow this.
You want to turn away her baby?
But this doesn't make sense, Sarah. It doesn't make sense. We're finally at a point of our lives where we can do whatever we want. We can travel. We can learn to kayak. I mean, whatever you want. Didn't you want to do that?
This is our granddaughter.
But what if the father comes back? Then what do we do?
He died, remember? Overdose.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right. But you...
We're not sending her back.
No.
We're not sending her
You're
back.
not going to change my mind about this, Sarah. You're not.
I'm not being dumb about this. If she goes back, she goes into care, into the system. We can't have that.
But this isn't our problem. It's not our problem.
This is a baby we're talking about. Your own flesh and blood. She doesn't have anybody else, and she needs a home. Wait, you haven't even been in there, have you? She's upstairs, and you haven't even thought to look in on our granddaughter?
Well, no, we've been kind of busy here.
Well, don't make excuses. I hear her crying. You can go in and look at her.
All right, I will.
But wait, you have to hold her.
Okay, I will. I promise.
This hasn't been easy. These past few years, we've heard nothing from Rachel. We didn't know if she was dead or alive. Days I would find myself just staring out the window, hoping to see her come up the driveway, just like she would when she was a little girl getting off the school bus. I would pray and pray just to see that. But she never got off that school bus. She never came up that driveway. My little girl was lost. And I let it happen. That awful silence was so hard to bear. That emptiness became my everything. I went all over town. I looked for her any place I thought that she could be. But I never could find her. We didn't mean to be hard on her. I guess we were. Fred still hasn't stopped. He is so cold when we talk about her, and that only happens because I mention her. He's found this so difficult. We both have. We don't talk to people about it because no one's going to come to your door with a casserole when they find out your daughter is an addict. I know Fred. I know that deep down inside, he still loves his little girl. But he mourns for her too, because that little girl is lost. It's funny, really, how she came back into our lives. When Rachel left, so much was bad. So many bad things said and done. So many bad feelings between us. But then we got the call about the baby. Something so good and pure and innocent. I was never going to get my little girl back again. But with her, I could see those first steps and hear those first words. I might even get to see her come off the school bus again. This might be God giving me another chance to get things right. I don't know. I know people in town who are doing the same thing, raising their grandkids. The drugs did that. I suppose we could have done more. Maybe we could have tried harder. I don't know. This is not what I thought I'd be doing right now. I'm gonna be tired again, busier than ever, doing all those mom things all over again. But it's so worth it. It's for her. It's all I can do for Rachel right now. And for her.
It's something that is very true of a lot of families in Jamestown. It is a real problem, this missing generation. And so we've obviously looked at addressing that as something that is very much receptive in Jamestown. The next extract we're going to show you, or the final extract I suppose, is a very different kind of story. It's a very, very powerful testimonial from a gentleman who is a highly decorated veteran who fell into addiction through his exposure to war. And for that, I'd like to welcome Adam Hughes to us, and thank you very much.
I was in the Army for 6.5 years. Started as just a grunt, infantry soldier. But I was good. I was real good. I got selected for Special Forces. I learned Arabic at the Defense Language Institute. I was assigned to a unit specialized in guerrilla warfare, small unit tactics. I went to several schools. They taught me the training of what it was to be an effective terrorist. They took us through this terror immersion course, Terror 101 they called it, but way beyond that, they taught us how to think, act, plan, just like the enemy. I was scheduled to deploy to Iraq in the beginning of 2009. My team and I, we trained out of Fort Irwin. It's in California. We were there, the order got passed down from above that we were to be part of an operation known as Task Force Destroyer. Going to go to the Qatar province in Afghanistan. Our mission was to recapture from the Taliban. When there long for I was blown up for the first time. It's on a convoy operation. We were running security for the medical workers. They were providing humanitarian assistance for the Afghan people. When the blast came, my vehicle rolled I don't know how many times. Came to rest on the side. My commander, he was in there. He was pinned. He was yelling at me. He said, get out as fast as you can." So I gathered myself. I turned around just to find my friend. He was trapped as well. I couldn't get to my commander. We had jet fuel. It was gushing all over us from the striker's punctured engine. My buddy had to break his ankle to get him out. So I dragged him out and then over the dead bodies of the medical staff. We managed to get clear, and I turned around, but the striker began to burn. There was nothing out of us could do. My CO, the driver, they burned alive. Me, I refused medical care. I was once told by someone that I respected that only the weak seek treatment for their injuries, so I wanted to remain with my men. And what followed in the next few weeks was just a constant and terrible bloodbath. And 31 days after the first explosion, I was blown up for a second time. This time I was with my best friend. I was the one slotted to drive, but he took the slot for me. He didn't think I could handle it. I didn't think I could handle it either, not in the condition I was in. But again, after the blast, my first instinct was just to look for my friend. I found him. He wasn't all right at all. And I screamed. I looked for a response. I didn't get anything. He was dead. My friend had been killed. I had to pull him out of the wreckage. And almost immediately after I got out of there, there was heavy fire from the Taliban. They were trying to capture any wounded occupants. I stayed with my buddy's body though, and I engaged him. I fought him like hell as long as I could. I loaded my last round into my pistol. And I was ready to take my own life rather than be captured. I would have killed myself if it came to it. But, as you can see, that didn't happen. My unit came to my aid and they extracted me. This time I was forced to take medical aid for my injuries. That's where my addiction began. See, all the Army cared about was making me operational. You know, I mean, they gave me this wonder drug called Percocet. All right, they told me if I was in pain, I could take 12 a day. 12. For the flashbacks, they gave me a drug called Ativan. Never taken a drug before in my life. Fell in love pretty quick. I was sent home from the war wounded, and one war ended there, but what I didn't know when I got home, another war was going to begin.
When he got back to the US and he went to the VA, and they took him off all of those pills, and he had to try and find balance very quickly, and that didn't quite go to plan. One of the things that's been very interesting about doing this project, because traditionally the Winged Ox has done licensed pieces. This is an original piece, and people who are still going through these things. The director said he knows every single last person that we're talking about in this play, and that's a very strange place to be when you're trying to advise actors on how to portray people. Do you want it to be exactly the same, or do you want to find a blend? But also, those stories are still going on. And this gentleman in particular, his story has taken several very dramatic turns since we completed the scene. And that's part of, I suppose, for me, as somebody who came to this project without very much sort of background experience, I suppose, it makes it more powerful because I'm now immersed in having made friends with these people. I know them. I may socialise with them sometimes. It makes it very real, and that's what we're trying to bring to Jamestown with this piece. This is why we're encouraging people to come to see this show for no charge, because I defy anybody to come to see this show and not leave having seen one thing that has connected with them in some way. And that's not necessarily down to my writing, maybe down to the acting certainly, but also I would say about a good quarter of the pieces in this script are testimonials that were written by people who are going through something, and they're real stories, and they have not really been tampered with very much. So it is very authentic, and it is a voice of Jamestown, and that's why what we wanted to try and create, especially being, as you may have guessed, I'm not really from this part of the world, but I want to make sure that it's something that actually reflects the place, rather than my Britishisms, which the guys have been working very hard to get rid of from the script. But so yeah, I mean, that's basically where we are. Like I say, I hope you all come along and see the show at the Willow Bay Theater on the 28th and 29th of April, and the 5th and 6th of May at 7:30.